Uh-oh. You're seeping. Here. Look at this.
Oh! Shit!
Hi, I'm Johnny. This is Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. Today I'm talking about an underloved action movie from the 90s. Today, Johnny likes The Long Kiss Goodnight. Geena Davis plays Samantha Kane, a woman who has amnesia. She can't remember anything about her life prior to 8 years ago. Since then, she has made herself a comfortable little life. She lives in a small town with her daughter and her boyfriend. She's a school teacher. She's living the suburban dream, basically. It turns out that her past was anything but uneventful. And with the help of Mitch Hennessy, a private detective played by Samuel L. Jackson, she must learn about her past in order to protect her family. This is one of those movies that I like for no real good reason. I saw it when it first came out on video, and I really liked it then, and since then I've watched it every couple of years. It's not an especially great movie or anything, but it has a few things going for it that make it worth my time. So I'll start off with the good stuff about this film. First, the dialogue. This film was written by Shane Black, and I absolutely love the kind of banter that he gives his characters. The kind of back and forth stuff that they do.
Check out her form, okay? If it's any consolation, you got her beat hands down.
Really?
Yeah. Neck up.
This is a thing that he excels at, ever since, his first film, Lethal Weapon. Okay, so technically Monster Squad was his first film, but, same time, Lethal Weapon, Monster Squad, same year. Anyway, it's what he's good at, it's what he's known for. The kind of witty banter that he has between Davis and Jackson's character, it just put a smile on my face throughout most of the thing. It's quick-witted, clever stuff. Second, Geena Davis and Samuel L. Jackson's chemistry. They bounce off each other quite well.
So you cold?
Yeah, freezing.
Turn on the heat. It doesn't work, but it makes a very annoying noise, distracts from the cold.
I'll pass. Thanks.
And I think it's an interesting pairing, and I definitely wouldn't have thought of it, but it just works. Third, Geena Davis is very good in this. The Samantha character in this is kind of like the soccer mama-ish role that she'd typically get cast in and is known for kind of playing. So when she gets to kind of let her hair down in the second half of the film and play Charlie, the government assassin, it's very entertaining to watch her play something that she doesn't normally do. Fourth, seeing the Charlie persona start to creep out from the Samantha persona. Seeing her chopping vegetables in the kitchen and getting excited thinking that she used to be a chef because she's so good with a knife.
I used to do this! I'm a chef!
And then the knife toss through the tomato into the wall.
Chefs do that.
Snapping the deer's neck after a car accident. And killing that first bad guy in her kitchen. Fifth, the action is shot quite well. Director Renny Harlin is a pro at this. He has done lots of action movies, so this is no surprise. But it definitely helps when you can tell what is going on in an action scene. And it also doesn't hurt that it looks pretty cool and stylish to boot. Sixth, the movie has some pretty funny lines. This ties in with the dialogue. I thought it deserved to be pointed out that I laughed several times throughout the movie.
Thanks. Tell anyone you saw me. I'll blow your fucking head off.
That's the good. Now let's cover kind of the not so good. First, the plot isn't anything especially original, and it is fairly predictable. It is an action movie, so the plot doesn't have to be the most complex or original thing in the world, but it sure helps if it is. And the plot being a minor element of the film could easily be forgiven if the action was something spectacular and out of the norm. Unfortunately, the action is just pretty good in this. It's nothing great. That's kind of my second gripe. The action was like A or B tier stuff when this first came out. And looking back on it, it seems super dated. But even at the time, it seemed a little bit dated, as this was kind of like in a weird transition period where this kind of action had kind of been done and it was no longer as exciting as it once was. It was competently executed, but there was nothing really new here. We've seen loads of like explosions and shootouts and car chases before, like many times over. Third gripe I have is that Charlie and Mitch are superhuman in the amount of physical damage that they can seemingly take. It's a common thing in action movies, and depending on how blatant it is, it can really bug me. This was a time where it bugged me. At one point, Mitch is exploded out the second floor of a building, flies across the street, hits a tree, falls to the ground from like second story height, and just gets up and walks off. That was a little bit much for me. The water wheel of torture should have rendered Geena Davis completely numb and useless. And she really should have died from hypothermia shortly thereafter. Then again, earlier on in the film, Davis and Jackson jump from a second floor of a building, shoot a hole in a frozen lake or river, plummet into the frigid water, pop up like nothing happened, get up, and start running away from bad guys again. So I guess it kind of was established that cold water doesn't actually affect the human body. So like I said, this kind of thing sometimes bugs me, and sometimes it doesn't. There's really no rhyme or reason as to what will set me off or why. This just happened to be one of those movies where it kind of did sometimes. That's kind of it for my major complaints about the movie. So you have to turn like a good chunk of your brain off in order to really enjoy this film. If you can do that, then it will work much better for you. Like, don't think about how it's impossible to outrun a fireball, or to outdrive a fireball, or any of the other physics-defying things that happen in the movie. Seen with this kind of mentality, this film is actually a lot of fun. Like that scene I was talking about where they shoot through the ice and plummet down. That was pretty cool. It was inventive and kind of badass. The scene where Geena Davis fights the guy in her kitchen and ends up killing him. Also, pretty badass. And despite my kind of criticisms about this kind of stuff, I really do enjoy like these kind of action movies. But sometimes my brain gets in the way of a good time, and I have to tell it to just kind of shut up and enjoy the explosions. And I will say, the action is pretty decent for this era. It's very much of its time, but it's at least very well done. I know I said it wasn't anything special earlier, and it's not, but it at least was well executed, and it was on the better side of stuff from this time. Last thing I want to talk about is one of the bad guys in this is played by a guy named Craig Bierko. And the whole time I was watching this movie, it was bugging me that I recognized him from something. I wasn't sure if I'd seen him in a bunch of tiny bit roles, or if he had been in like one movie and I just couldn't place him. Turns out, it was just one movie and I couldn't place him. And that movie was Scary Movie 4, which is my favorite scary movie. I think it's very, very funny and quite underrated. Go check it out if you gave up on Scary Movie after the first one. It's fun. Anyway, he was absolutely gold in that, and it was just kind of weird seeing him in an earlier, quite different role.
Marilyn, it's a good look for you, being pregnant.
I'm not pregnant.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
If you want to...
So props to that guy. So all in all, this is just like a slightly above average 90s action movie. It's elevated by the script, mainly the dialogue, and the performances of Geena Davis and Sam Jackson, and the chemistry they shared on screen. If you're a fan of action movies from the 90s, this is a solid bet. For everyone else, I can't quite recommend it for you. Like, it's dated and it has some serious flaws, but I still enjoy it every time I watch it. And I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Other stuff to check out that is vaguely related. Watch The Last Boy Scout. Shane Black also wrote that one. Check out Eraser. It's an action movie from the same year as this one, and it has a lot of the kind of dated issues that this one has. And check out The Bourne Identity and its sequels. It's got a very similar plot, and at least one of them has Brian Cox in it, who is also in this. So what did you guys think of The Long Kiss Goodnight? What do you want to see me talk about next? If you could let me know in the comments, that would be outstanding. And if you could do me a favor and like and subscribe, that would also be outstanding. It is quick, free, and relatively painless. Plus, it really helps me out. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little while, and you can tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.
You're an assassin working for the United States government.
Get the fuck out of here! Assassin!